Hey everybody, this is Rebel Builder and I am back with a new LEGO Star Wars MOC. This is the TIE Bomber. Now if you're a longtime viewer of my channel, going back to 2016, you know that I did a version of the TIE Bomber back then. Now with the appearances of this ship in the Book of Boba Fett and recently The Mandalorian, with the new LEGO set coming out, I just started thinking about this ship again and talking to a friend of mine. He suggested maybe I should revisit the build. Now, initially, I kind of just intended to maybe dress up the old version, maybe add some more tiles. But I started digging into the source material again, revisited my old ship, and then realized there were some things that I just didn't get right geometry-wise. Now, I like to collect a bunch of source material, blueprints if I can find them. But the cool thing about this time is I was able to find pictures of the original studio model from The Empire Strikes Back. That was a great source of good images. And then I did find some blueprints and was able to kind of revisit some of the geometry. Some of the big changes I made geometry-wise is this section of the wings, the solar panels, I just kind of call them wings. I made wider. These were 4 studs on my old version. They are 6 now. And then also the angle of this section of the wings. It's more open. Now what this does is when I hold the ship, kind of pick it up and swoosh it around, it looks more like the TIE Bomber, like what we're used to seeing on screen. Got a little piece out of whack there. The other thing that I did was I realized my pods, or the pilot section and the bombing section, they were way too long before. So I shortened these up, and really once I started looking at that source material, this became an entirely new build. Another big inspiration for me building the new TIE Bomber was actually my first order TIE Bomber build. And so I'm really proud of this ship, and I wanted to love a new TIE Bomber as much as I did this build. Alright, let's start by looking at the sides of the wings, or the solar panels. You can see I used as many tiles as possible. Tiles on the edges, tiles here, but the cool technique I came up with is I have tiles sticking up here. Now this is that 4x4 piece with the studs on one edge. I was able to use those, have 2 rows of tiles sticking above, and then building with the black on top of that. And then similar here on the front section, I was able to have a row of tiles kind of sticking out, building on top of it, and then kind of revisiting the detail here. Of course, I still have to have that same 2x2 round, decorated tile. And kind of change the hinge system here. These are, these aren't the locking hinges. These allow you to kind of move at any angle. And I was able to lock in the angle of the wings using a system of hinges here, and then connecting to the underside of the wings. So now we'll kind of look at the back side of the wings. You can see on the inside what I did was use those 2x2 inverted tiles and then the 1x3 inverted tiles to actually give me as many tiles as I could on the inside. These wings are kind of opened more, so you do see them quite a bit, and I wanted to again do as many tiles as I could. There are some sections where I use plates. You can see them like here and here. And then the same thing on the inside. I used as many of these pieces as I could on the outside, but also a lot of these hinge plates, these 2x2 hinge plates, and they also made for some really cool details and greebles. So I used quite a bit of those on the inside, kind of again, just giving a bunch of detail. And while we're looking at the back side here, you can see I revisited the engine section using these 4x4 round bricks with some tiles on the outside. This is a 6x6 dish, and this gives that recessed look that the back of the engines actually have, and really I think that kind of worked out well. One little thing in the very back, there's a 1x1 brick with a Technic hole in it. That's a little nod for me to the original model, because there's actually a hole in there with threads where they would mount the model and put it on their machines to fly the ship around. Now coming around to the front section, again using those 2x2 hinge plates there, you know, again making some cool detail while giving it the smooth, you know, tile look. Kind of this little cool gun piece, and then just kind of working out some different curved slopes, different geometry. And one little thing underneath that 4x1 slope, there is a gap. That's something you see on the actual filming model, and that was something I wanted to capture. For the front section of the cockpit, again, I ended up with the quarter dome pieces. I did revisit quite a few different techniques, but I really wasn't sold 100% on this technique until I came up with this section. Originally I had just an 8x8 radar dish and then this kind of deal on the front, but it was missing the notches. You know, I even considered trying to make some stickers and just couldn't come up with a good design. And finally at the last minute, I came up with this technique to have the 8x8 plate, and then these are 2x1 round slopes in a octagonal pattern, and then a 6x6 dish on the front. Once I did that, I feel like it all kind of came together and clicked. Also, like the design I came up with for my first order TIE bomber, I built the ship as symmetrical as I could. You know, this section is the same as this side, but again, I built the ship in two halves. So if we actually look at the bottom, and there's a stand in the way here, but this is actually built, you know, studs going down. So it's two halves together, and they kind of are held in place by, like, say, these sections where they're holding the two sections together. Also, the connections here with the wings, you know, it all makes it for a very sturdy build. Like, it's strong. But that allowed me to add the round slopes on the bottom, kind of giving it more of that curved look. And here's a look at the underside without the stand. And you can see, really I tried to mimic what we saw on top, especially this section. Had to split some things out to make room for the stand here. Another change from my original TIE bomber that I had wrong was the location of this bombing pod. I had it way up here, and looking at the source material, it's much further towards the back. Taking a look at the cockpit here, you can see I do have a pilot in there. He's cozy, but he does fit in there. And then I don't have hinges for the top, but I do have this section that pops off really easily. And then you can see the pilot is snug in there. I added some red to kind of give it that a little bit of that red glow kind of look that we've been seeing lately. One note about the stand, I just wanted to come up with something black, but I like this idea of using a lot of Technic to kind of give it kind of a technical look. Also, to make sure black and red gives it kind of that imperial look. But it is quite sturdy, but the point is the ship is too heavy. You know, I use too many pieces, especially on the wings, for it to actually hold up under its own weight. You know, this hinge system just isn't strong enough. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. I gotta say, it's great to be back on YouTube, great to finish a new MOC and be able to share it with everybody. If you want to follow me on social media, Instagram is a great place. Twitter is also good if you want to get some video notifications. Other than that, please give me a thumbs up on this video, and if you don't already, subscribe to my channel. I do have plans for some new videos and some new MOCs coming out later. But other than that, thanks for watching everybody. I'll be back soon.